So I'm doing a voiceover. My microphone on my camera broke, so it just didn't record very well. But here we are at a local nursery. This is just a gem of a nursery. It's got so many different varieties, different than your sort of, obviously the box stores, but even some of the bigger nurseries, they have sort of like a few sources that they get all their trees from, and then they're all the same. And this nursery just has some beautiful, different varieties and really affordable junipers. So you can see here, I'm kind of looking through the junipers. I really know that I'm going to get some Shimpaku that they have here. It's just such a rare to get those varieties of Shimpaku, and I've noticed that as I practice, especially with these smaller trees, but even any trees, just the foliage type makes all the difference. But you can see here, look at the blue there. Hey, that's nice. They have a lot of different types of junipers. Here we are sort of out of the juniper section, and just looking at these different varieties of species, right? It's just something so unique. It's a cedar of some sort, of red cedar. But look at the sort of whips that it just makes. It's like the foliage doesn't really come out or expand. And this is the start of August, so it's middle of summer. Some different pines. Yeah, look at the size of those needles. They're so small. Such a nice. And these trees are all probably, I'm going to say $80 or something each, so it's quite expensive, and so easily spend a lot of money. But yeah, I always have to kind of restrict myself when I'm going to the nursery. This looks like some cedars, maybe some like hedge type cedars. Back into sort of junipers. These are just, like you can see, there's decent movement in that, and it's just not the kind of species I want, right? This has a sort of, it's not clumpy, and you can see that it's not dense in there like some of the other species. Right here you can kind of see the yellow tips. This sort of clumps, you can see nice, but it's got this yellowish sort of light green to it. Looks like just a mess of trunks in there, so and what I look for, right, is a good sort of trunk line, because you kind of get lost in what you're looking for. Here's a hemlock, some sort of dwarf variety or dwarf cultivar, because that's a different foliage type than you see normally, but that would have been a quite expensive tree. But yeah, looking for those curvy trunks and just the species, and then, kind of looking at branching. This here is one of the ones that I get. And you'll see what I kind of do with it later. I have a sort of an idea of turning it up and sort of making like a small forest, or like 3 or 4 trees kind of clumped up. But this is Shimpaku, and you can just see how much it clumps. Now this tree is struggling a bit. I think it's been in there a long time. So here's sort of 2 different Shimpakus I'm looking between. And I'm kind of looking for that big sort of curvy, thick trunk that can give me something to kind of work with. And I'm actually not sure which of these 2 I choose, because I do choose one of them. This is where you want to spend time. You actually want to see the tree, because sometimes I just, it looks good, but I don't see the tree, and I get it home, and well, how am I going to design it? So I kind of look for the tree. I'm looking for the angle here. What could I do with that? Which part would I use? And of course, kind of try to look at the base, but here, these are just so root bound. They've been in here a long time. So these are the 2 trees that I pick. So here's the little one. Again, it's kind of suffering. Some of the tips are a bit dying, so but there they are. Shimpaku juniper. So $20, I think, at the store. Really dense roots. So I'll probably try to tease these all out and put this into something. You can see there's a really long, straight, will be a gin piece to it with no taper, and it's just straight. It's just straight as can be. But nice thick base. This is obviously too straight here, so I'm gonna gin this. I can't bend this either. And I will probably use most of the other branches. This one may also be a gin. Probably make the tree here. So yeah, not too great Nabari, but some roots coming out. So start with the gin. This is going to be the front angle here, so I almost wanted it to look like it's split like that, so I'm going to bend this just a teeny bit more. There we go, and sort of gives it some depth back in there. And this I kind of like. So I've defined the base to tip up here with wire. So this will be my sort of apex here. And then this front branch has to come in behind, and these are all going to wrap all in here. So, and I'm going to make it fairly fairly symmetrical, you know, with the crown sort of right over the top. And I may add some movement later. I'll probably angle it here just to pull this off, center line, and it's got some roots here to hold it, so that should be okay to kind of visually hold it. And that will pull the apex to the right a bit. So anyways, first order is bringing this branch back. So you can see I've kind of got this gonna have to come swinging back out here. This will come here, and so I'm sort of making this side. And even though the main, so this is so dumb. Oh, there we go. Nothing to come forward through. Maybe that trunk comes forward. So let me tell you some of my thinking. So I set that original branch down there, and then I set this other one. So that's going to kind of be my primary side. Let's angle it up, see if it won't fall over. You know, something angled like that. And so this is my apex right up here. And so I'm thinking this, and so what I've done is I pulled this from the back up and through, and I'm gonna kind of cross over these
this deadwood. Even though I love the deadwood, it's just a bit strong. So this will cover it. Now this is a bonsai faux pas, right? Pull a branch from up there, comes around and through. Maybe in the long term I can get like these inner branches to grow. There just wasn't enough growth here for me to fill in this section, and I did want to cover some of this deadwood. So, you know, I mean, can that sustain long term? Probably not forever, but give it 5 years or something, let it really dense out, and then think about removing that when these are long enough and can cover that space. But for now I kind of wanted some of that instant bonsai. So, you know, and then I set this other side. It's way too far, and it's on the same plane as this. Even when I tilt this down, I can't get that much lower. So I'm gonna cut this back, cut this probably way back. Use some of these to cover in here, and then hopefully have a triangle that's leaning to the right a bit. It's gonna have a lot of foliage on it compared to what you might do, but for this initial styling where I'm going to repot, I want a lot on there, so yeah. Well, I got a lot of work done, as you can see. Got all the kind of branches in, and you know, this is still dead, like it's live, but it will be dead. So it's it hasn't been cleaned yet, but you can kind of see the dead wood. Yeah, and I got it in this pot. It's a clay pot. Ended up getting it in Vancouver. But yeah, I'm just so happy how it turned out. You know, and I could clear more. It's too thick in the back there. That little bit coming down. And I may do a teeny bit more work on it, but really I needed to survive. I mean, I did take out quite a bit of roots to kind of get it up in there, and you can see it's quite mounded still in there. But I just didn't want to take too much of the roots, disturb them too much, and same with the foliage. I could have, you know, really made these small, fanned them all out much more petite, and I think I will next year. But I'm just going to need some of that to help it grow. So a side angle, the back, and there's a lot of flaws to it. You know, like I bent that one branch down and in and around. Yeah, and I think somewhere in there. That's probably where it is. And the apex could use a little more work. Like, is it there or is it there? You know, it's kind of that whole ball. I think here is actually a sort of a better angle for the apex. But yeah, what a great one. That was fun. Oh, and here's one my daughter was working on while I was working it together. I helped her a bit with the wire and stuff. So, anyways. Here's a little box made out of a deconstructed fence I had, so it's a little raggedy. Lots of room for air. Should work out really well. So here it is, planted up. So I've tilted it up and got it into sort of that box. Yeah, and I did take off some of the foliage to kind of balance the roots to foliage. I didn't want them drying out too much, and I misted both of these trees really well, you know, for weeks, kind of on end, periodically, and kept them in dappled sun. Anyways, I appreciate everyone watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing, and we'll see you next time.